the post-mortem of the Irish loss to England didn't take very long because England were the better side on the day. They left 10 points out there off the kicking tee and they physically dominated Ireland for the most part in the game. And it was like a pendulum. The match swung all the time. You know, flip flopping back and forth. Ireland would score, England would score, and just the match was constantly tight. But in the second half, when James Lowe scored his second try, I thought for all money that Ireland were going to be able to close it out. It just felt like I think he put his arm up and waved to the Irish crowd, and it was like, we're going to turn it up here a couple of notches, and that just didn't happen. And it's not because Ireland couldn't kick on. It was because England just stopped them in their tracks. And with the team that they picked, Ollie Chesham at number 6, Atoji and George Martin in the second row, huge men. Ben Earl, man of the match, unbelievable performance. He was like Artie Sevilla running around the Twickenham pitch. They really did get on top of us and suffocate us in our attack. And it was only that second James Lowe try that we felt that we were starting to pick a few holes. But apart from that, it was a really hard day. And there's been a lot of critics have come out and blamed Conor Murray for not kicking long, and should have went in there picking jam, and blaming Peter O'Mahony, the captain, should have set a better example, not getting yellow carded. But you can blame whoever you want. There was 23 players that ended up getting on the pitch, and nobody was able to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Nobody was able to put in a game-changing hit that turned the ball over, or a crunching tackle. It was all England. It was all England. It was Freeman. It was Waboso. It was Ben Earl. You couldn't say there was one Irish player that really stood out. Maybe Bundy Aki for the first 50 minutes of the game. But apart from that, it just felt like more of the English players played better than most of the Irish players. And we haven't said that in quite a long time. A lot of people were stunned by Ireland losing to England, but at the same time, it was one that nobody seen coming. Scotland getting beaten by Italy, considering the record that they had had. I don't think Italy had ever beaten Scotland at home in the Six Nations. So the whole chat of the weekend has somehow went on the Ireland game, even though they've still got an opportunity to win the championship this weekend. So Scotland, for some odd reason, have sort of went under the radar from a media perspective. But I can tell you now, those Scottish lads are really hurting. I'm sure it's not embarrassing to lose a match, but it sort of puts a dent in your pride, let's say. When you've got a bit of a lead away from home against a team that 9 out of 10, 99 times out of 100 that you beat, and you can't put them away. And what's that going to do to their confidence? What's that going to do to their mentality getting into this game? And it's two wounded animals, Ireland and Scotland, going head to head here at the weekend. They're two teams that usually like to play. So hopefully the weather is a lot better than it is today, and they can throw the ball around a little bit. But you got to fancy Ireland, and it's 13 out of the last 14 Test matches that Ireland have won against Scotland. We are their bogey team. We are their bogey team, and I'm sure that is talked about amongst the camp, the Scottish camp. That is because sooner or later they will beat us, Donny. Sooner or later that will happen. But I just can't see that happening this Saturday. In the second game of round 5, just because of the front 5 that Scotland have. I believe with a few sources close to the Scottish camp, there will be a couple of changes in there. But I just can't see them matching us physically and the way that we've been able to move the ball, especially at home. I think if we win, it'll be 18 wins in a row, or maybe 19 wins in a row. So that's all black stuff that we're talking about, and hopefully we can keep that momentum going. Yeah, I think Italy are also, it feels like both teams are on different trajectories at the minute for some reason. Even though during the World Cup, Italy were doom and gloom, getting pumped by 70, 80, 90 points, I think it was, against New Zealand. And the wheels were sort of coming off under Crowley's reign there. But with the new coaching setup that's been put in, they have got better as the championship has went on. They obviously drew against France away from home. Then they beat Scotland at home, and they have to go away to Wales, where they tasted victory in 2022 with that last minute. I think it was Pavo or Pavini or whoever it was with the Garbisi kicking the conversion to win the match. And they've good memories of the Principality Stadium, and they will feed off that during this week. Um, there's a number of their players that are playing really, really well. Lamaro, the captain, he's the highest tackler in the competition. He will flatten anything that comes down his channel. Canones, the brothers, they've been playing pretty well. Also, you've pace out wide with Iwani. Garbisi seems to have found a bit of form as well, even though he hasn't been really producing for club or country for a couple of seasons. And then the centres, Brex and is it Lemoncello? Well, he's called Lemoncello, but he's called Menoncello, is it something like that? I've seen that's his new nickname across social media is Lemoncello. So yeah, they've a number of outstanding individuals, and it's just about all putting it all together, and we're able to do that for large parts of the game against Scotland. So you would have to fancy Italy, plus 8 points in the handicap at 10 to 11, just because of how they've performed in the last couple of weeks. And again, Italy are playing really, really well in the last quarter matches. The last 20 minutes, Italy are scoring most of their points during the Six Nations. And Wales just showed there at the weekend they can mix it. They can mix it with any team. But come the last 20 minutes, they were absolutely blown away against France. And I'm not going to say the same thing's going to happen again with Jude because Italy aren't the same force that France are. But if they can make it tight and squeaky bum time come 20 minutes, you would fancy Italy in that 8 point handicap. Yeah, this is a really interesting game from a French perspective because they have yet to win at home in this year's Six Nations. A huge, humiliating home defeat, first up against Ireland, a draw against Italy, and now this is their chance to put things right. The game is being played in Lyon. It almost feels like they've got a little bit of homesickness from the Stade de France, where they usually beat any team that walks through the gates there. And I think they're going to turn up this weekend. There was a few changes for that Wales game, and the guys who were brought in actually played really, really well. They have a bit of meat is back up front as well. A couple of big units that are back in, reinforcements, so they will be stronger. And of course, they do have a big bench to bring off or bring onto the pitch on the 50, 60-minute mark to make an impact. The question around England is they were so poor for 3 games, and then they played, pretty good against Ireland. Can they do it again? Can you back up a good performance with another one? And that is something that they haven't done for quite some time. Probably haven't done at all under Steve Borthwick. They had a couple of easy runs in the Rugby World Cup. No doubt put their best performance in against South Africa. And then had an easy enough ride in that third, fourth place playoff against Argentina. So we're going to see what this England side is made of, what some of these young guys are made of. Can they step up to the plate under the pressure of being away from home and not having 70 or 80,000 English fans cheering you on and having more home comforts. And I really fancy this French side to kick on from their big win against Wales last weekend. And as I say, right a few wrongs from their opening 2 home games in this year's Six Nations Championship. So for me, I'm going to go for France minus 7 points on the handicap and to finish this championship off in style and send England backpacking.